Wow, the sun just came out, so sorry about my eyes not being open for this video. I'll try. I've been excited to do this video for a very long time. I have put in days of research into this. The reason is because it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I believe that so much of the sheep business is changing toward this, but the consumers haven't really gotten there yet. And so I think that this is a good introduction into meat sheep. So if you're new to meat sheep or you're researching meat sheep, this is something you're going to want to pay attention to. So for me and many others, raising sheep is rewarding for so many different reasons, but I think most people think of raising sheep for their wool, not the meat production. But in today's economy, the meat is actually a lot more mainstream than the wool. And if you've spent any time researching sheep, you'll know that there are so many breeds to choose from, and everyone has their own preferences. As you can see, I have Dorper, so as you might guess, I might be partial to Dorper, which I am. But I wanted to put out this video to show you the most popular meat sheep for all the different situations. My situation, I believe Dorper is the right path. However, I'm not going to sit here and stamp my feet and say that Dorper is the best meat sheep till the end of time for everyone in every situation, period, end of story. That's not the case. So stay tuned on this video because I'm going to talk to you all about my favorite meat sheep breeds and what situations they are best suited for. So let's just get started with Dorper. Dorper are my favorite sheep, and much of the reasons that I like them are the reasons that everyone likes them. But I'll start with the obvious. They are just thick, muscular sheep, and they pack a really delicious flavor of meat. They're incredibly hardy. This is a 1-year-old lamb right here in front of us, and she's just exhibited many characteristics that you would want in a meat sheep. So some nitty-gritty stuff with the Dorper. They have a great loin, which is a desirable trait for meat production. They also have a broad back and hindquarters, so you're going to get nice full steaks and chops. A lot of people will say you can get 1 to 1.5 or 2 more steaks off of a Dorper than you can any other meat sheep. So these sheep originated in South Africa, and that's where most of the good that's really where all your good lines will come from. They are excellent meat, very similar to Katahdins, but the Dorper sheep will yield a more desirable cut than a Katahdin sheep. So all in all, the Dorper is a fabulous sheep to have for a lot of reasons, but specifically for me, being on very small acreage, the Dorper sheep produces a lot of meat. They're excellent foragers, and they're full blood lines, and they're purebred lines, but they're full blood lines, which is what these are, which means I can trace both parents directly back as full bloods to South African stock. The full blood lines are very desirable breeding stock. You can make a good chunk of money by selling your breeding stock back. The Dorper sheep is really good to integrate into larger flocks. So if you've got a flock of a certain meat sheep and you want just a bigger carcass yield next year, get a full blood or a couple of full bloods rams to help you out. That's why it's helpful for me to raise them, because I don't need a full flock, but I can sell just a handful of breeding stock and make some pretty good returns. Okay, let's talk about the world favorite, which is the Suffolk. The Suffolk is a very European sheep. They came from East England, and they're primarily a wool sheep, but it's decent at putting on weight. But they're usually, I say usually to be generous to people, they are almost always grain finished sheep. They're one of the most common sheep that you will see out there. The reason why I believe that they have been so prolific across the world is that they mature and finish very, very quickly. Again, probably because they do well with a grain finish, which truthfully, I'm not all about that, but if more people are eating sheep, I'm happy to hear it. The Suffolk is a dual purpose sheep, so you're going to get wool and meat out of a Suffolk. I've also heard that, I don't raise them, but I've heard that their litter size, a litter is technically 4 or more, their lambing rate is higher than other sheep, so they're more likely to twin and triplet. They come out a little bit smaller, but like I said, part of that breed is they grow faster and they mature faster, which means you get a product faster. So how do you know if the Suffolk sheep is for you? Well, if you're watching this video, it might not be for you. The reason being is because the Suffolk sheep is not a typical homesteading sheep. It is a very hands-on, very intensive, very involved flock. The reason is because you're just doing so many. Like the qualities of the breed denote a higher flock, a bigger flock of sheep. But if you want to be, more intensive and have a large flock and don't mind supplementing toward the end, the Suffolk sheep could be your sheep. Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite hair sheep, which is the American Blackbelly. So they are small sheep. They are also very easy keepers and really good lambers. So if you're a homesteader, or if you just want a lot of sheep and don't want a lot of input, the American Blackbelly could be a great sheep for you. Another plus for the American Blackbelly is they are a stunning sheep. They are so pretty. They might be my favorite adult sheep out there. They just look really, really good. There is a con with that though, and the con is that the rams have horns, and I've heard from many people, mostly on YouTube, who keep these and say that those rams will butt and bang just about everything. So keep that in mind. Have very strong fences and keep your rams far away from the ewes so they don't bust down a fence and breed when you don't want them to breed. So is the American Blackbelly right for you? Well, truthfully, it might be. If you want a low input, very cheap, very affordable flock to start, a very nice commercial flock, you really can't go wrong with the American Blackbelly. All right, this next sheep, I know I'm going to get a lot of weird looks and weird comments for, but here I am. I'm saying it. Stay with me till the end. East Friesians. So if you know sheep, you know that they are an excellent dairy sheep. So you're looking at this, you're saying, why are you suggesting Friesians for sheep? Well, they are excellent milkers. And why that's beneficial is because if you can integrate those into a meat flock, the milk production that they give could give you a healthier, heartier lamb that goes to market weight much faster. So you see where I'm getting with this. There are some downsides to the Friesians though that make them not a great commercial set it and forget it meat sheep. What I mean by that is that the Friesians, two things come to mind. One, they actually don't do well in large flocks. I don't know why, and I don't know the ramifications of that, but I've seen that all over the internet and people that keep them. They just don't do well in large flocks. And then two, their lambs are big complainers and not very self-sufficient, apparently. Luckily, they have good moms, but the lambs, I guess, have been known to complain a lot more than other sheep. But the Friesians have a lot of benefits, especially if you're looking for meat sheep on a small scale. That being that the temperament of a Friesian is very similar to that of a Jersey cow. These dairy breeds that go back thousands of years, maybe hundreds of years, I don't know. They've just been around humankind in a very close proximity, and so they've just grown very docile. So the Friesians come from Germany, as their name suggests, and they have a higher fertility rate. So another reason why they could be good to, again, integrate into a small-sized meat flock is you might get a higher fertility rate. That trait might pass along if you mix them into a commercial meat flock of a different breed. So we're not really here to talk about dairy, but I'm talking about the Friesians, so I might as well drop some of this information. They give between 1,100 and 1,500 pounds of milk each lactation cycle. For a sheep, that's unheard of. They set the bar for that. They also have a 6 to 7% milk fat, which is the highest of any sheep. It's also the creamiest of any major livestock, at least in the U.S. So, is the Friesian right for you? Most of the time, I don't think it will be. However, there is a very specific estuary of needs that a Friesian could be the sheep for you. If you're small, or if you have a small flock and you want to integrate a few Friesians into it, if you want to get some milk and some meat, this is a great sheep for you.